Okay, so the first one question that we can, I mean, this is not a standard, this is just a suggestion. You may have a different way to break it down, or may have different steps to get the answer, but just take that as an example. Okay, so let's say the first question I can answer, it's easy for me to know how to answer, is what job postings related to software. Okay, so that's one question I know I can answer immediately using what? Which operations that we know can answer this question? Yeah, the filter, so that we can filter the jobs and select the ones that are related to software. Okay, so the filter takes a callback functions that is a predicate, right? So what is a predicate? A predicate is a function that returns true or false. Okay, so we need to create this predicate. So let me say let software job predicate equal function. I'm just gonna define it with a long form so that we can see it, and then we'll compare it to the error notation form. Okay, so that function needs to take one element. You know, when we traced the operations, there is an internal loop. So when we call the filter, there is an internal loop, right? That will call the function that we sent as a callback and give one element in the of the array to that function one at a time, right? So this function needs to take one element. So let's say we call it job. Now this name is just a name we choose, okay? So that would be called in a loop, and every time we'll be pointing to one of the elements in the array. So the return is job dot, it has to be a true or false based on whether the job description has something to do with software. Okay, so I'm just gonna use a very basic, not very accurate way to do that. So I'm just gonna see if the string that is the job description has the word software in it. Okay, so job, this is one of these objects that we have here, right? And the job description is a property. So I can say job description, and there is a function in the strings, a string object that is called includes, that returns true or false if the given string have or if the string that we are sending the function to has or contains the string that we're searching for. So here we're searching for software. Okay, so that's a predicate, takes one job, returns true or false based on our criteria. All right. All right, now let me try the filter. Now the filter is a pure operation, so it will return a new array with the results, right? So I will say let software jobs equal, I'm gonna call the filter on the all jobs array. All right, so I'm just gonna call the filter method. All right, now the filter expects a callback function that is the predicate. So I already have it defined here. I can send it there. All right, and let's just try to print the number of elements that return. So it should be less than the original length. So this was the original length of all jobs array, and this would be the length of the software jobs. Okay, so we should expect it to be smaller because it's just not every job posting has software in it. All right, so let me run this. All right, so the original array was 7,000 plus. The array after the filter, it's 302. Yes.
Is the underscore predicate required, or is that just?
That's just a name.
You don't have
No, it's just a name. I just wanted you to know that this is a predicate, but I can just call it whatever I want. Okay, I just wanted to use the word predicate so that you remember what this function is about. Okay. Okay. Now this is how we define the function in the long format. Okay, but if this function is not needed anywhere other than this particular step, we don't need to give it a name, right? We can send an anonymous function definition as the callback function. Okay, so if we're gonna do that here, so let's redo this step. I'm gonna use the same array, but this time I'm not gonna send the name of the function object. I'm gonna send the definition as an anonymous object. Okay, so if I can use this, the array operation, the arrow notation would take the arguments in round parentheses, and then the arrow, and then the body in the curly brackets, right? Okay, so how many arguments do we have here? We only have one. Okay, so, and then we can just take the body. Okay, so that should work. Instead of saying the keyword function, we just use the arrow notation. Okay, so that should be exactly the same. Now, there are even shorter way to do that, and you often will see that. First of all, when we have exactly one argument in the argument list, we don't need to send the round, put it in round parentheses. Okay, so you just, if you see something that looks like this, it is just an argument list, but it is optional to include the round parentheses when it's exactly one argument. Okay, if it's 0 arguments, then we have to put the round parentheses, even though empty. If more than one, then we have to surround it with round parentheses. But when it's only one, then it's not necessary to have the round parentheses. Okay, there is also a shorter way to send the body. When it's exactly one statement, that is the return statement, we don't need the return, but we also, if we're gonna omit the return, we'll have to also omit the curly brackets. Okay, so if I keep it like this, I just omitted the return statement, and I keep it like this, it's gonna return undefined. Okay, if I want the return statement to be included automatically behind the scenes, I just want to use the short form, then if I omit the return statement, I have to omit the curly brackets as well. Okay, if you omit the return, it's only without omitting the curly brackets, it's gonna return undefined. All right, so that should work exactly the same. It's just a shorter way to define the function. All right, so that's the first question we answered. What are the jobs that are related to the software?